All right, reading the market. This is where I think a realtor can actually do their job. So much of being a real estate agent is just effectively communicating with clients, but this is where some actual skill and knowledge can come into play. So pricing condition. When pricing condition meet, the home will sell at the average neighborhood days on market. It's important to understand that just because I price it right doesn't mean it's going to sell in one day. The neighborhood has an average days on market of 14 or 20 or 100. So if I price it right, I'm going to fall into that average days on market. Now, if I price it below, that's where I can have quick sales. But it's important to understand, I priced it right. It's been 2 weeks. Why hadn't it sold? Well, the average days on market is 30 days. That's why it hadn't sold yet. So that's an important caveat, the average days on market. All right, I'm going to go through this with you here in a second. Reading the market, there's two ways to read a market. One is reading the market pre-listing. And this is giving expectation to your sellers. Here's what I can expect to happen. And then reading the market active listing. This is reading what's actually happening. This is getting showings and offers. If we're not getting what we need, drop the price or increase the condition. So I'm going to jump into, I'm going to jump into showing you guys so when you log into our MLS, Oklahoma City, Oakmar, MLS OK, we have an option here called Market Stats. This is what I'm looking at. It gives you stats up to the previous month. So we're in December, so I don't have December stats, but I have November stats. So I'm going to click on Market Stats. It's going to open up for me. And this is where I can see data as far as what's average sales, trending data. What's average sales price, how many new listings are coming on, how many homes are currently for sale, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, shows per listing, shows to pending, price per square foot, percentage of list prices, month supply, all this stuff, all this data that the MLS gives us from all their data. And it gives us trending reports. So what I'm gonna be looking for is average days on market. And I look at average, not median. So I'm gonna be looking at average days on market. And then I'm going to be looking at shows to pending, average. So average days on market is going to tell me how long on average do homes and whatever criteria I plug in stay on the market before they sell. And then shows to pending is going to show me of those houses, how many showings did it get before it sold. So again, easy example, if an average days on market's 30 and it has 30 shows to pending, I need to be getting a showing a day. And if I'm not, I need to increase the condition or decrease the price, right? So let's do a real example. Does anyone have a listing they got right now? I'm trying to think of. I'll just pull one here. Let me pull my zip code. Single family. All right, we'll do this. So I'm looking 73120 zip code, single family house, 2,500 square foot or larger. It's a different market than 1,000 square foot or smaller homes, so I'm being specific here. 2,500 square foot or larger. I'm gonna include 2,000. So 2,000 square foot or larger is what I did, and a 3-bed house. So that's the data I'm putting into it. And this is giving me the trending information. So you can see it's a big variance. Must have had a couple sell. Let me just pull all this out to make it easier. Okay, so you can see average days on market has been, we'll just use like the last 3 months, 22, 27, 18. So after the last 3 months, it's been averaging about 22 days on market. So if this criteria, if I price it accordingly based on what I'm seeing here, I should expect about 22 days on market. So now I go to shows per pending on average as well. And I've got 13, 11, and 13. So we'll call it 12. So I need 12 showings in 22 days. Does that make sense where I'm getting that? So So if I have an average of 22 days on market and I need 12 showings to go pending, I need 0.58 showings a day, right? So that turns into one showing every other day. So about 3 to 4 showings a week is what I'm needing. So this is pre-market. This is me looking at historic data and talking to my client. We are seeing about a 22 average days on market. We're seeing about 12 shows to pending, so we need about a showing every other day. So we're gonna put it out there, and how quick you adjust is really up to the seller's needs and timeline. If they're fine, they don't have another house under contract, they're just kind of putting it out there, maybe it's vacant or a rental or something, they don't care when it sells, maybe wait 30 days before you make an adjustment. But if they have a house under contract contingency and they need to move town or whatever and they need to be quick, then maybe you adjust quicker. But I wouldn't say ever do anything before 2 weeks. At least 2 weekends worth of data before you do anything. And then typically don't change, if you price it right, don't change it until the average days on market hits typically. So again, in this example, if we price it right and we're getting a showing every other week, and after 22 days we haven't sold yet, then we're gonna start talking, we're gonna start looking around what other houses have sold, what conversations are we having. But really, this is where you wanna set the expectation of the client. So if we listed high, and I told you we really need about a showing every other day, and we're getting like 2 showings a week or like 1 showing a week instead, and 3 weeks goes by and we've only gotten 3 showings, now we can have that conversation. Hey, remember I told you all the other houses around us are getting about 3 to 4 showings a week, we're getting 1. It's been 22 days, we haven't had any offers. I think we should look at bringing the price down or painting that room or replacing that tile or whatever it might be, right? So this is where you set the expectation of what we're gonna be looking at and what's gonna be happening. Very rarely do you price it right, get the average showings, and it not sell within an average days on market. Very, very rarely, unless it's a unique property, very rarely does that happen. If you're in Oklahoma City and there's enough data, the market is going to be very, very consistent. Now, if you're out on land or have weird, unique properties and there's not enough data to support it, it's gonna be harder. But that's where you can tell them up front. So that way, when 22 days comes and you're like, oh, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to tell them, you already told them up front. We're not getting the showings, we're not getting any offers, we need to make an adjustment. It's easier to have that conversation now than when the house actually isn't selling. So this is how we're gonna set expectation with the clients up front. Average is 22, we need 12, so we need 1 every other day. And they're gonna say, okay, so that's what we're looking for. So after 2 or 3 weeks goes by, now that they know that in their head, if they're not getting 1 every other day, they're gonna ask us, hey, you think we should drop the price soon? We're not getting this. So you've set, now they're watching it like a hawk as well as you are. And so you can have that conversation because you've already set that expectation. So that is how we read the market pre-listing. Reading the market active listing is actual showings coming through. So this is people coming to see the house and getting real live feedback from them. And this is very important. So a lot of especially in the past couple years, a lot of showing agents don't give any feedback and a lot of listing agents didn't care because if they didn't buy the house, someone else would. But in a real market where we need to guide sellers, we need feedback. I don't know, this is why for sale by owners struggle so much. They don't have any method for receiving actual feedback. Because if you're a realtor and I'm a realtor, I'm gonna tell you like it is about this house. I don't care and you don't care. House is the house. Homeowner, you can't say that. You can't say certain things to a homeowner. Hey, that cat you love that's 22 years old that pees on everything and makes your house smell, you gotta get rid of that thing while you're trying to sell this house. You can't say that to a homeowner. I can, but it's not gonna be well received. A realtor can tell that to a realtor. And then you cannot be the bad guy because it came from me. Does that make sense? So you can use this dynamic to get constructive feedback. So the key is you have to get feedback from every single showing that comes through. You have to get feedback from every single showing. Probably half the time you're gonna have to actually reach out to the realtor and say, hey, you showed them a house 2 days ago. Can I get some feedback? It was the house on this street that looks like this. They're probably not gonna remember and they're gonna give you some generic feedback. But most of the time they're gonna give you some sort of constructive feedback. Why didn't the client like the house? and they're going to tell you the backyard wasn't big enough or something like that. But every now and then they're going to give you something actionable. It was too much work. They didn't want to paint the whole house. Okay, that's an actionable feedback. That buyer liked the home, the characteristics, the location. They just didn't want to take on a huge project of painting and new countertops or whatever, right? So you have to chase down all this feedback so that 20% of it can be constructive for you, actually be actionable. And this is the stuff, these are the conversations we're having with our seller each week. So we're reading real live, active, real-time feedback from buyers so that we can guide our sellers to get a house sold. You can also, there's a way in the MLS where you can input feedback for someone. Again, because sometimes you'll have a seller, you told them to get rid of all the junk, right? All the clutter, and they didn't. And now a buyer says it was too cluttered. I couldn't really see, or they didn't like it because it felt small. Well, it's not small, it's big. There's too much stuff. So I can send that feedback to my seller and say, hey, they're saying your 2,800 square foot house feels small, right? So let's declutter. So you can use that feedback to guide them to do the things they need to go do. You can also edit feedback too. So if they tell you something verbally, you can go in and input it so that it sends it to them as well. That way you can send feedback to your client. And again, you can give them hard feedback too because it's not coming from you. It's coming from them, right? And so if you're getting a couple people say the same thing, like there's a smell or it's too close to the power lines or whatever, then you can take action on that. You can tell your client, hey, we back up to some power lines. 5 of the 8 people who came through mentioned it. Maybe we need to drop the price because that's a condition we can't fix. So all we can do is price drop. So real live feedback, real-time feedback can allow you to adjust to the market. And that's what we're doing on the market. We're chasing down leads. We're doing open house. Best thing you can do, an open house is great for you as an agent to capture buyers, but for a brand new listing, it's a good way to get a bunch of feedback really fast. So if you have a new listing, first week on the market, go do an open house and just get kind of a bunch of feedback real fast. Some will be good, some will be useless, but hopefully you pick up some buyers and you can get some feedback that you can share with your client. You can gauge people's interest in stuff as well. So this is the active listing. How we're reading the market is talking to buyers, getting feedback, kind of aggregating it, and then guiding our sellers on what to do with that feedback. And then again, based on that feedback, there's only 2 things we can do: decrease the price or increase the condition. So again, I use the power line example. If there's something that you just can't affect, there's something you can't change, price is the only lever you can pull. If people are saying they don't want to take on a project, take on the project, make some updates. If it needs to be painted, paint it. But sometimes there's stuff that, again, if it's on a main road, you can't move it from the main road, right? So there's no way you can increase that condition. You can't move it. So the only thing you can do is decrease the price. So having these conversations up front before we need to drop the price will make it easier to drop the price once you're actually in this situation. So I think that is all of them. So again, a couple of main points. Again, house for sale and price and condition meet. We determine if price and condition meets based on showings and offers. If we're not meeting the market's price and condition expectations, the only thing we can do is drop the price or increase the condition. And we are, and understand that the market will sell, or the market will dictate the price. All kind of makes sense. Those are the things I use over and over again in my listing presentations and when I'm talking with sellers, and weekly when I have my weekly follow-ups with sellers as well. They have to understand all those things because it's not, I had this conversation with Sarah. It's not you're not doing a bad job. Like my job as a real estate agent is to set your expectations, guide you, put the house where it probably needs to be, and then read the market, help read the market for you and guide you to get the home sold. You're an adult. You're gonna price it whatever you want to price it at. If you want to follow my advice, we'll list it. If you don't, we'll list it wherever you want. But you're the adult, you're making the decision. And when you can set expectations properly, it prevents you from having to be on the defense all the time. Because you told them what to expect. You told them what you're seeing. It's not your job to go sell something that's overpriced. Buyer's gonna buy it at whatever price they want, right? So setting the expectation allows you to not feel guilty all the time, like you don't know what you're doing or like you're bad at your job. You set their expectation for them, and now the market will dictate the price. So listings, I used to hate listings when I was brand new. just because I always felt like they thought I sucked. I always felt like they thought I didn't know what I was doing and I couldn't sell their house until I understood how to read the market, how to communicate that to them. And then what's cool about listings is all the work is up front. All the marketing, all the market research, all the expectation setting. Then you list that house, your hands off. You're going to get more clients now because the market will sell that house in the average days on market based on what you determine, right? So that's the cool thing about listings. But if you don't do all that properly, you're gonna be getting blown up from your sellers. You're gonna feel like you not know what you're doing. You're gonna be stressed out all the time. So set expectations properly allows you to step away and go build more business because it's gonna do, once it's listed and you did everything right, it'll sell itself.